This
Yeah.
is Diana Lynn from the Heartland Song Network, co-founder and director, and joining me is Miss Amber Underwood from right here in Kansas City, aka Flutienastiness. Thank you, Amber. Do you go by Amber? Is that proper to call you Amber?
Yes, that is my government name. So yes, I do go by Amber. But normally, if I'm not in an educational type of situation, people like to say, "Hey, Miss Flutie Nastiness," or "Hey, Miss Flute Nasty," or whatever. But
Well, we're really happy to have you as our Artist of the Month. One of the things that we try to bring to the table every month is to highlight different genres of music and to let people know what a wide variety of talent there is here in the Heartland. And it's not all blues and jazz or rock or folk or whatever. It's a little bit of everything. And
it's a plethora of stuff.
it is. And I was really interested when I was kind of diving, into your background a little bit. I'm wondering if you can share with the folks that will be watching this on our socials. Are you from Kansas City originally, and do you come from a musical family?
Okay, yes, I am from Kansas City. I grew up over in Kansas City, Kansas, and then moved over to Shawnee Mission, graduated from Shawnee Mission Northwest High School. And no, I do not particularly come from a music family. My dad did play music in school, but nothing like he always asked me, "Where did you get this?" It must have skipped a generation. But I do have other family members that are connected to me that are famous that you might know, like Blair Underwood and Cheryl Underwood. So
Blair Underwood is one of the most handsome men
yeah.
that ever walked the earth. He's a great
Yes.
actor. He's also very, very handsome.
Yes, I would definitely agree. I found that out from Cheryl, kind of going through our I guess ancestry. So yeah, I've never met Blair in person. So
is the flute your original instrument, or did you start on piano or guitar?
I started on piano. My mom put me in piano very early at the conservatory at UMKC. And she was very adamant of having a piano in the house. A lot of our family members, like my cousins, they all took piano. So I think it was a kind of a thing back then. A lot of kids growing up, they had a piano and we took piano lessons. So
I always wanted to take piano lessons, but we couldn't afford it. And so I took baton lessons. My mom.
Oh, nice.
Twirling lessons.
Fun.
So, it's really helpful to you later in life as you become a real music fan and want to be able to participate in music. But so conservatory of music. So I'm taking it that you can read music and you're writing original material as well, correct?
Yes, yes, ma'am. I've had lessons from a very young age. I had very good, I was fortunate to have good music teachers in my life and encouraged me, especially when I moved over to the Shawnee Mission side. My middle school band director was really instrumental in my music, and it kind of took off from there.
Did that inspire you to then become an educator? You are a music educator as well as a performer and entertainer.
Right. Well, both my parents are educators, so it's kind of in the family. That wasn't my original pathway. I wanted to be, of course, a performer. I didn't know what type of performer, but I was always very attracted to entertainment, the stage, either it be acting or singing or playing or whatever, but it happened to end up in music. And so but my dad always told me, well, Amber, if you're going to go into music, make sure you know all sides and aspects of music. Maybe you should, pick up an education degree or something, to fall back on. Everybody says that when you want to go into the arts, and I was like, why do I have to, I kind of fought him on that, but I'm so glad that
have you here. One of the things that I'd like to know from an artist like you is, what's the biggest thing that's missing here in the Heartland in order to better support you so that you can survive and thrive here? I mean, if you could wave kind of a magic wand, what's kind of
I think that
missing from the music ecosystem here?
I think that the city as a whole needs to have a better music strategy. We don't have a music strategy here in the city. When I think of that, think of like New Orleans or Nashville or even Austin. When you think of those type of cities, they are kind of music cities. When you fly in to New Orleans, the first thing you hear is jazz music in the airport, or it's all around you. You're immersed in it. And they say that we are a music city, and we are because jazz was kind of raised here, but it gets lost. And I feel like we're becoming more of a sports town, but we can be both. And I feel and believe that if we had a music strategy and had more money that was going toward the arts, music and arts, we would be a little bit more supported, I would say, especially like in the venues. We don't have as nearly as many venues to bring in the type of performers that need to come in, just touring. Yeah, we have the big ones like Kaufman and like T-Mobile Center, but we just need more venues to bring in, those names, more spots for musicians to play, because there's more musicians, artists.
There's a lot of talent out there. There's a lot of pent up content, and providers. Do you think that the biggest I think about this sometimes. I think that we're at a real disadvantage because we bisect two states, and we have a metropolitan area that has 7 counties and 150 or 200 different municipalities, and it's hard to get any cohesive.
They're like pockets.
Yeah, and it's hard to get on the same page about this stuff. And yes, it would be great if Kansas City took a leadership role and took advantage of the assets that are here. And I have hope. I always have hope for that. But I still think we have a little bit of a disadvantage in that we're fractured by all of these different, political subdivisions and stuff that we have to be.
And it's really, it frustrates me because, they're pumping a lot of money into, revitalizing. And yes, our city needs, we need new roads. We need all those different things too. But the music and arts brings in lots of money. We can be, especially we're having the World Cup come here. We got really great teams that should be coinciding with the music. There should be like a partnership to where, we should be an unstoppable city when it comes to that, because we have the music and we have the sports.
Well, I think one of the things that we hope that the Heartland Song Network can somehow provide or be the catalyst for that sort of growth or that sort of direction, to get all of these conflicting or fractious factions to get together and go to the city and say, look, we need a more cohesive strategy here for the music ecosystem.
Well, speaking of that, speaking of music strategy, I'm actually part of, first of all, if people don't know, Kansas City is the only creative city under UNESCO for music.
Right.
So I am with UNESCO, and I'll be actually headed to Mexico for their forum, for the North American Creative Cities Forum, speaking about, about Kansas City and jazz. And when I talk about UNESCO and music, being a music creative city, most people were like, huh, really? What's that about? But if you talk to people outside of the United States, they know all about us. They know all about Kansas City and jazz and our music and how much they want it so much. And so we need to bring up Kansas City to let them know, do you know what you have? And the more we try to, I feel like some of the development is tearing down some of our history that's planted, that is right here in our own backyard. And so we need to start preserving some of that and really take all of that in. And like you said, trying to get the city to understand, like, look, hey, there should be, we should be having a, how they have the Grammys, they have these big awards. Why are we not having like a international jazz award or something, ceremony, things that are here? So, if we're saying that we're a jazz town or a music town, then we should be having all of those type of things.
Well, I'm really heartened to hear you say that. And it's your generation that is giving me hope that things like that may happen in the future. And it's funny you should talk about a gala or an award event, because one of the brainstorming ideas that we've had at Heartland Song Network is to perhaps at some point put on an event that's not unlike the Lincoln Center honors, where we pick who we're going to be honoring, but we would be honoring folks in education and in promotion and performance and all different genres. I mean, you can't be everything to everybody,
right?
But I think you're onto something there, and I think it's something that's doable.
And then showcasing your educators, showcasing your jazz musicians that are here in the city, put them up on the billboards, let people know who we are, and not just our sports people, but if we're really going to say that this is who we are, then we need to show people who we are and let people know that we can also be a household name. It doesn't have to be, it's like, a kid could be driving down the highway and look up, it's like, oh yeah, that's Amber Flutienastiness, she's blah, 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 and can spit the history. Or that's, they're an educator and she teaches at my blah, 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 school, and really embrace the talents that we have and the artists and the musicians and, the legacies that we have here in the city.
Well, I totally agree with you. And I think that I want to see that energy level always. Yeah. What do you think is the biggest impediment to getting people out to gigs? Or what do you feel about the audiences in Kansas City? I have my own preconceived notions about that, but I'd like to hear what you are experiencing as a performer at your gigs in terms of support and conduct, the way people conduct themselves.
What's your experience? Go on that one.
Yeah. It's really something that is of concern to me and of interest to me. So from your perspective, in your world, what's your take on that?
Most of our quote unquote jazz venues they're very far in between. So a lot of the venues that we're playing at are kind of more restaurant type style, or they're not like the listening room where you're getting people that are coming to actually see a show and for you.
Right.
But most of my gigs most of what I see that people are like, we're background music.
Yeah.
But
or the televisions are behind you and they're watching the sporting
something. I try not to be in those type of environments.
Yeah.
But or having to remind people like, hey, we are not the radio, like we're live music, and it gets so loud, you have to adjust. So you're really fighting. I think that it has changed. I think how people listen and what they want from their entertainment. I know for me, of course, I strive to be more in a listening room type setting. I think most people, they want to hear songs that they hear off the radio or covers or something like that. And so, yeah, we have to appeal to that audience, but also, we're artists. We want to create our own music and have people call out our song titles and like, hey, I want to hear this, I want to hear that. So there's been times where I've played at places where people have been more than happy on the drinks that they have been drinking, and they feel like it's just a free for all. They can just come up to the stage or come past kind of like the end of that invisible line that you're not supposed to pass. I was like, wait a minute. I was like, you wouldn't have done this at the Kaufman or at the the Folly or whatever. So what makes you think it's okay? I'm like, this is my workplace, even though we're here to provide an entertainment, but this is still my art. This is my workplace. This is what I take it very seriously. So I see it. I see all of that. I feel like we also do need, it's our jobs as artists to educate to our audience on like what we expect. And I know I try to do that, but you also want to, we are entertainers. So
it's a fine line to try to walk.
It's a very fine line, because most musicians, we're just happy. Most of us is like, oh, we got the gig. And so, because I mean, that's a fight in its own sense. It really depends on where you are in your career. At this point, for me, I'm very selective of where I play at. I really want to be at a place where people have to schedule me in their calendar, and it's more of an event. And so it's like, oh, we don't get a chance to see her very much. So they're out there, they came to listen to me, for like, so it really depends on, I feel like, what kind of artist you are, where you're at, it has some variables.
To a certain extent, it's educating the audience, but it's also kind of on the venue owner to set those expectations. I mean, one of the things that we do with the Heartland Song Network is once a month we have a breakfast gig, a Bloody Mary morning gig at Mike Kelly's, which is a neighborhood bar. It has music almost every night. But what we do on those events is I get up at the beginning and I set the expectations. I say, for the next 2 hours, this is a listening room. Please turn your phone off, and all conversations need to be at a whisper level or take it outside. Because we will ask you to leave if you are disruptive in some way. And we really haven't had a problem with that. Now, other people come in during the break, and there's an intermission, and I get up and I say it again. We've been doing this for 1.5 years or 2 years now.
You set that expectation.
So we've set that expectation. The same thing with an event series that's out in Lenexa called The Green Guitar. The gentleman gets up and says what the expectations are at the beginning, and they don't have a problem. But it is a process, of educating the audience of what they're expected to do if it's a listening room or.
You can't really do that at a restaurant.
Yeah,
I can't do that at a restaurant. I can't necessarily do that, especially like in a hotel. If I'm, people are there to, have a drink and have conversations
and to visit.
To visit. Now, I just did the Folly about a week ago, and it was set up as a listening room.
Right.
Like,
I've been to that several times, and
and they do a really good job with that. I've also been to comedy clubs that they say that too, and so I love that. I think the majority of our gigs, at least for me, I'm speaking for myself, is not that situation. And then unless there may be a and then you have private gigs that you get and corporate gigs. So that's going to be a totally different setting. And so you're that musician, but you have the other side of the musician where you get to really see the artist. And that's when you can, where I've had to, kind of go out on my own and create my own situation and not really depend on, well, they won't book me here, or they won't let me do it here, or, maybe we're not fortunate enough to play a recital or something at some of these, like at the Folly or the Kaufman,
or the 1900 building or something like that.
Yes. So you have to kind of create your own situation to be able to have that.
Speaking of that, creating your own situation, are you doing all of your own social media and booking and the business side of your art?
Yes, I am. I have so many people ask me that. Yes,
because your Instagram, your pictures are beautiful, and they're very colorful, and they're very they're very pleasant to look at. I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's very engaging.
Thank you.
I think you do a great job at that, but I know that it's not everybody's cup of tea. Not everybody's equipped with both the right and the left side of the brain to
Yes,
be able
it
to
is
do that.
very, I feel like I'm very fortunate because I kind of have my foot in both worlds. Like I know people that are super duper talented, but they are talented in just
Right.
that. And when it comes to
In
like
their kindergarten,
scheduling,
when
they're
it
like
comes
all
to
over
the
the
business.
place.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and my I have degrees in business administration and education. So with performance, so I kind of I'm my own business. I kind of have that kind of business mindset, and um, I'm like, if I'm not going to do it, who's going to do it? And
Well, and
especially,
you're setting yourself up for success too. I mean, you have a better chance of being successful at this in the long term as a career and a vocation by being equipped with those assets in your tool belt.
and I was not taught this in college. I mean,
Yeah.
this is on the job training. I was going, and then I also went to like NAM and different conferences and learning about the industry that I'm in. Learning about because social media is driving everything.
Everything.
When you book or something, they ask you, well, how many followers do you have? What are
Mm-hmm.
you doing here? I mean, it's a whole thing, like streaming, and so I really got into that, especially when I started doing my first album independently. Like I literally had to learn all of those things. And, I've learned the tricks of the trade. Down the line, I had to get an intern. Some of these younger kids, they know a lot more about some other stuff, but I mean, everything is so visual and quick. It has to be within like a
Everything is
minute
so
or
20
30.
minutes ago. Oh, that's so 20
Yes,
minutes
that
ago.
was so, yes. And so you have to stay up on it. And it's just all part of it. And really, I feel like that takes about 80% of my
I
time.
bet. I mean, I have musicians. I have somebody getting ready to spend 3 nights with me. I put traveling musicians up quite a bit, and I see what it's like. They get up first thing in the morning. The first thing they do is crack open that laptop and check the emails. Or if they've got a booking agent, I mean, it is a 24/7
Yes,
thing.
it
And whether
really,
you're
really
doing
is.
it yourself or whether you've got somebody in your village or in your circle that can do it for you, it's a
Yeah.
thing. You can't.
You have to have your team of people. I kind of got my team of people, but I'm also kind of a slight of a control. Like I need it. I know it this
Mhm.
way. I know how I want certain things, but yeah, if you have the means but I think doing it yourself, at least so you can understand all aspects, because if you start letting other people handle your business and things like that, you're not seeing what's coming in and what's going
Yeah,
out and how your
it's a
image is
team
being
thing,
portrayed. Yeah.
and you need to be in control. What are you working on right now, and what's in the near future that we can be looking for that we might be able to help you with?
Yeah, so I am working on my second album right now. I literally am in the studio as we speak. I head there tomorrow. I actually just signed with the label. I'm not going to say just because they want to have an official signing and let everybody know, but it's kind of nice transition from being independent to now having a backing of a label. So I'm really excited about going into my second album because it's going to be completely different from my first album. I'm going to be exploring a lot of new different things. Most people know me as a flute player, as Flutienastiness, but you're going to hear all other instruments, me playing saxophone. I don't think people really know that I play saxophone. I'm going to be singing. I'm writing a lot of lyrics, piano, and just a lot of different stuff, and kind of a different vibe. So I'm really excited about that. I don't really have a projected date right now, just kind of really just going in there, keeping my head down and being really creative. So that's what's going on. And then the other big thing is I'm representing the United States over in Chile and Santiago for the Creative Cities for Music City. And I've been doing international master classes with Chile leading up to the big kind of event that's going to be happening in January. And it's also celebrating the 200 year relations with the United States and Chile. And I'm one of the 4 women that's going to be representing us, and they're all women. They're all from Kansas City, and they're all jazz. And so that is a huge thing to be able to go over and represent not only the United States, but Kansas City, being a creative music city, and taking 4 women to represent that. So we have Angela Ward is going to be on piano. We have Paula Saunders on vocals. We have myself and Ariana Numanti on saxophone. So, and we're going to be teaming up with some of the Chilean musicians over there and putting on concerts, working with some of the kids that we've been working online. So it's going to be a really great, really cool thing. And you guys are going to hear more.
That's fantastic. We'll keep in touch about that so that we can relay that and share that with our social media as well. I noticed that you are more Instagram is kind of your platform of choice. Is that because it's more visual?
Yeah, it's more visual, and people like to follow me on my stories because they can kind of get more personal. But I'm really with the Facebook and Instagram. I know that seems old school. I have not gotten into TikTok and Snapchat. It's just too much.
It is too much.
I was like, I have a Twitter account, but I kind of let that go. I need to get back. It's too much to handle all of that with everything else going on. I have a private studio where I teach. I'm a band director. I have my own band. It's just a lot going on. So I'm like.
So do you have a website that you would like to share with us so that if folks want to check out the educational component or the performance component, is there kind of a central point of contact for you?
Yes, everything is on www.flutienastiness.com. FLUTIE, nastiness is all one word. And you can see all the components that make up Amber Underwood, from education to performance to whatever you need to know. Now, if they want to know where I'm going to be playing at, they're going to have to follow me on social media, and they can get that through the website as well.
Well, we're so happy to have you again as our Artist of the Month. And I'm very thankful that you're here, and I don't worry so much about the future when I'm out able to talk to folks like you and know that you have this in your heart and you have this in your head.
Thank you so much.
So we'll be back in touch, and we'll have this edited and up on the social media here in the next week or two. And again, if there's anything you feel like we can do to help be more of service to you.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Let us know.
Thank you so much, you guys. I really appreciate it. My mission is just teaching through performance and being an advocate for music.
Well, you're doing a wonderful job, and I'm looking forward to seeing you perform in person and to meet you in person real soon.
Yes, thank you guys. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Amber.
All right, bye.
Bye-bye.